You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Shmuel Gershon. And I'll start with this automatization. It's a risk. So let's say I'm a tester. Let's call me Shmuel. And here I am the testing manager. Let's call me not Shmuel. So the story goes like this, okay? Shmuel has been all day long testing, and he's producing a lot of things. At the end of the day, the managers come and say, hey Shmuel, so what have you got? And Shmuel says, I got all this stuff on papers, look, a lot of testing results, I've got a lot of information. Oh, that's great, how many bugs you have? And he says, I have these 2 bugs. And the manager asks, what's all the rest? Oh, the rest are the things that I like about the product. And there are also the things that I'm indifferent about. So this talk is started as one of my posts at the Blogstar of EuroStar. And it's about trying not to narrow the information that we take from testing to bugs, but to all information that we can get from there. It happens that in conference and when we talk, and usually even if we don't talk like this, when we do the test, that we focus only on the bugs and what are we finding, right? Is there a problem here? That's what we ask, instead of asking what is that I'm seeing, what I'm looking at. Anything can be. And I think that if we could devise a way of thinking, and maybe a tool, that do not focus on what is the type of the information we are getting, like it is a bad thing, but focus on, I have some information, now what can I conclude from it? We can gain many things from that. For example, having information about a good part of the system can help us make the new parts better, because if we are developing a search engine, and we know that there is an engine there that works really well, we can look at the database and see, okay, what have we learned there that works well, and copy it here. Another thing that happens is, and you probably saw this happening many times, is that you have something that works well, but there is a bug in some place on that system, and when the programmer comes to fix that, he breaks all the rest. And then the tester complains, oh, now everything is broken. And the programmer asks, okay, but you filled this bug, you wanted me to fix this. I fixed, so what do you want from me? But let's say that all the other parts of the system had some information like, I like how this button feels. I like what this happens. Okay, I'm fine, it's time. I like this and I like that. It would be much harder for the programmer to break that, because he's got on the system and he already received, assigned to him, information about the good parts of it. So if part of the checkboxes work, he will not break that when he fixes up a software. More than that, and that's, I think, is the more important part, is that when we treat quality as the absence of bugs, then managers start to count them. Because if that's quality, then I can talk about quality in terms of bugs. If we just have generic information that cannot be divided, then the manager cannot really tell what's bad and what's good, or really count them in a very useful way, then we will be talking here about feelings, and we will be talking about qualitative parts of the software. And not counting just the bugs or whatever we are affecting, because all the techniques that we use can be used for both things. And we do notice many things that we like when we test, but we are just missing this information. Jesper has some expansion to that idea. And we are trying to think about if either like a tool that allows us to provide information without defining them as bad information, or something like that can help this way of thinking to thrive better. So I'm now requesting input and ideas of how do you think, if you think that this should be done that way, how it can be done. And that's all. Thank you. And I have time for questions now. You can come from me.
45 seconds for questions. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of reporting good things as well as bugs. That's a really good thing to do.
So you are already 3. Jesper, me, and Dot. Someone else like that?
You're here.
4, 5,
You're
6,
here.
7. Okay, winner. No,
Include a subjective assessment, though. Not all objective.
it
Well,
includes.
if up front you say what positive things you want to look for, then it's less subjective. It's turning into objective. Specifically, if you make them part of your acceptance criteria and you discuss them with the customer on forehand.
I appreciate the sentiment.
Disagree.
I appreciate the sentiment. I like the idea.
Ooh, that's cool.
Hello. I like the idea of being positive and reporting things, but I wonder if that might take away from the time that we have available to us to present the information that we need to present, that is the stuff that threatens the value of the product.
Time.
Time.
Okay, time.